hello. It is I once again, Emmett Watkins Jr., also known as DJ161, on all places on the internet. And today, I have a slightly different video because for the first time, maybe ever, but at least in a very long time, we have video of my face. Hey, how's it going, guys? I decided to go ahead and actually be in front of a camera. Not just because what I want to talk about today is kind of sort of important, but also I feel like that helps connect a little bit better if you can see my face. We still got Astro going on screen, but we get to talk a little bit more directly. So that's good and nice and all. So yeah, hey, what's up, guys? Today I want to talk about, well, first there's a couple other things I want to talk about. You can see me now. Look at this hoodie. I've had this hoodie for many years, but I got nonstop compliments on it all day today, and I feel really good about that. Just so many people at work saying, "Oh, nice hoodie," and then so many people when I went to go vote, which you can see, oh my god, opposite direction. You can see the sticker. I went and voted today, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. Before I really crack into the meat of this, I'll admit that I'm very, I don't know. I don't have a poli-sci degree. I don't have the most extensive knowledge of all politics and whatever. But I believe what I believe, and I'd like to express what I believe. I think the easiest thing to do for something like this, or maybe not the easiest thing, but the way that I would like to start this off, when it comes to the election, 2024's presidential election in the United States, if you need that context, it's between Trump and it's between Kamala Harris. Those are the two leading nominees. Those are the two main people that people are considering. There's the Green Party with Jill Stein. There are a couple of independent tickets as well. But those two are the main ones. And maybe those independent parties have a factor into what I'm about to talk about. But I would like to say that I understand that I'm going to be preaching to the choir a little bit with this video. So let me just start off by saying this. It is my top priority to make sure that Donald Trump is not elected into office or gains any type of political or really any type of power that can be exercised on anyone else for the rest of time. It is in my best interest to make sure that that man stays neutered and stays far away from being able to affect my life or anybody else's life. I think that's in the best interest of everybody. I think he is repugnant in all ways. He's so bad that mainstream news media won't talk about all the ways in which he's bad. Not that they're avoiding it, but they're just focused on a handful of things when there's armfuls of things that you could really drag this man about. He's bad in every single way. And we'll talk about why he's running, because that is part of my criticism as well. Of course, I think if Donald Trump wins, I was about to say Rule 24, good God. Project 2025 is the conservative think tank kind of plan for them to put Trump in office. He can kind of be the spearhead to get a bunch of things passed and get a bunch of legislation going through that's going to really mess up our education system. It's going to really mess up our tax laws for the middle and lower class. It's going to mess up a lot of things. It's going to be bad for trans folks. It's going to be bad for any minority. And it's going to be bad for anybody who doesn't have a lot of money. If you're a lower class, then this will blow you up. I think Trump's policies are worse for everyone. And I think Trump as a person is worse for everyone. So I am completely against him. And I kind of have to say that first, because when I say that we deserve better than Kamala Harris, is it Kamala or Kamala? Because one of them's incorrect. I know Trump be saying it wrong all the time. Kamala. Okay, yeah, because I remember someone had a hat that was just a comma in LA. So Kamala. We deserve better than her. We deserve better than what she's presenting. Now, let me say this right now. I have been thinking about this video for quite a while, but I thought it'd be appropriate to, do it with the I voted sticker on, so that, whatever the comments are, whatever the responses to this video are, I've made my choice. You can probably put together what my choice is by the end of the video, but I've made my choice. So save the drama for your mama. But this is me just saying how I feel about things. I think we deserve better than Kamala because, yes, I do feel like compared to Trump, she is way more progressive. Compared to Trump, she gives a shit about democracy. Compared to Trump, she is, personality-wise, mentally, etc., morals, everything better than Trump. But it frustrates me that that's where the analysis ends. I think the main thing that frustrates me about Kamala is the same thing that frustrates me about Joe Biden and much of the Democratic Party and much of American politics, regardless of party, the ongoing genocide in Gaza. Now, this isn't the only horrible atrocity going on overseas right now. We got stuff in the Congo, we got stuff in Sudan going on, but the stuff going on in Gaza is shown to us on such a tremendous scale. Anybody who is paying attention to all of news media, and I'm not just saying, because of course a lot of the reports and a lot of the bloodshed that we're seeing spilled over there is coming to us through social media, coming to us through your Twitters, your TikToks, etc. And people like to discredit that information as being invalid because it doesn't come from a major source. It doesn't come from like an institution. But even Al Jazeera, which is a major institution in news worldwide, they have been fairly reporting what's been going on in Gaza for the last year and telling the truth of the matter. Yet you look around and places like the New York Times don't quite get the story right. Places like CNN don't quite get the story right. And these are the institutions that people slightly older than me, the less internet inclined age, they take that as gospel and don't really think past it. So what they've been fed over the last year since the October 7th attacks, which actually did happen and Israeli lives were absolutely lost, but it's been so much worse than that. And before that, the context that's lost is before October 7th, Palestinians were getting abused and brutalized for generations, or maybe a generation, which is still decades and decades and decades. October 7th didn't come out of the blue. It wasn't just that, hey, we don't like y'all, let's blow y'all up. It started, with the first Nakba way back in mid 1900s, like 50s, 60s, something like that. It started a long time ago with the establishment of the state of Israel, and it's just been bloodshed ever since. Bloodshed started by an occupying force entering land that did not belong to them, that occupying force being Israel. And now we get to the point where we're at now, where it's not just history, it's still happening. It is something that I'm bearing witness to every day. I'm having to either hear about it or directly see videos of it. I have seen dead children multiple times at this point. I have seen people being burned alive in hospitals with the IV still in their frail arms moving in the flames. I have seen so many executions. I have seen, and these aren't things I'm looking up. This is, first off, this is maybe a moderation issue on the side of Twitter, but the fact that I can see these things and they're all real and they're all genuine, and a lot of these things are things that I'm not even seeing from places like Twitter. These are things I'm seeing on places like I said, Al Jazeera. They have a lot of great, documentaries and video reports of the stuff going on over there, and they're showing clips. They're not getting too graphic because a lot of the stuff is safe for YouTube, but they're showing clips, they're showing images, and it's just dead women, dead children, dead men, non-soldiers just brutalized and murdered. And no food is coming there, no aid is making its way there because Israel has been blocking it. Not just the military, but also Israeli citizens will stand in the way of trucks, will stand in the way of this aid getting into Gaza. And then when aid does get into Gaza, when help is sent, they are targeted by the IDF, or really IOF, because they're not defending anything, because it's not theirs. They're occupying. The Israeli occupation force is a more apt way to call it. It's abhorrent. It's It's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's people talk about how did Hitler get away with all that shit? How was he able to kill all those millions of people and the world was just sitting by letting it happen? First off, we did fight a whole war over that and other things. But, and to be honest, U.S. didn't hop in until we got shot at directly with Pearl Harbor. But even so, I look at this going on in Israel, I look at this going on in Palestine. And I have trouble understanding how anybody else can see it for anything but what it is. What it is a genocide. What it is an elimination of a people from their native land. The U.S. did this when we established the U.S. All the Native Americans that were here, we wiped them out and systematically destroyed them or removed them from where they were, and then we took over. And that is not justified. If we wanted justice, you can come there and work with people and build a community in tandem with the ones there. But you don't come in here and just brutalize and push to the side. There's just no justification for that. And yeah, we're we're hundreds of years past that at this point, but that doesn't make it right. I think we as Americans have trouble kind of trying to figure out what justice is for us, where we understand so much of American history is unjust. It is so much of America writing the story because America is the victor because we took over. And we know that that's wrong. But you kind of want to think that, oh, it's because history. It's because there's so much history. It's so much in the past. It's so removed from now. It just seems like, oh, man, America was crazy. America is crazy still now. And this whole thing going on in Gaza is kind of proof of that. And it's hard to see, folks that I know in my own life, relatives and whatnot, talk to me about how, Israel's been one of America's longest allies and we got to defend them at all costs. This is a lot of cost. These are a lot of just dead families, dead bloodlines that cease because of this. And not just the loss of lives, but tell me, what war are you fighting in which you need to blow up buildings? Not just, someone's in that room, we need to bomb this specific tower. They are instilling bombs. They are planting, C4, whatever types of explosives. The building's already cleared out. There are no hostiles in there. And because they had time to set up all these bombs as if it's a demolition run. They're demolishing these places, demolishing Palestinian culture, demolishing, all of these institutions that these people had to themselves in that one strip of land that they were given by their oppressors. And now even that's getting wiped away. And all the while, the reason I criticize Harris, she is giving money. And it's not just her. Let me be completely clear about this. It is the American war machine. It is the American establishment. And as commander-in-chief, she would become the head of the military. And she has made it clear, made it on record time and time again, that if she gets into office, she will side with Israel. She will defend it to her dying breath, apparently. And she will always be in favor of their wants, needs, and desires. And their desire is to wipe out all of Palestinian kind. And they've made it self-evident. And I can't be on board with that. I am so broken up about it because I understand that if Donald Trump is in office, every queer or trans friend, any queer or trans person that has given me any type of joy in my life, they are immediately in threat. And I don't want that for any of them. Me as a black man, I'm in threat. He's coming for me too. Like, I'm fucked no matter what. And I understand there are even people like me, people in my demographic that are like, oh man, Trump says he's going to lower taxes, blah, 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 blah. We don't... How much money is worth dead families in Palestine? That's really what it comes down to. It's two things. How much tax money you're saving is it worth those families being eliminated? So you got to ask yourself that question. And then number two, if you're afraid of taxes being raised on you, it's not that everyone needs to pay less taxes. It's that who's paying taxes and how much are they paying? You look at these corporations, and the corporations, they got a million different types of tax breaks. You know, whenever they're like, oh, save the wildlife, donate, round up your dollar today at Starbucks or whatever the fuck. By the way, Starbucks also giving money to genocide. But like you round up and that's tax deductible. And then they can take that and say, all right, well, we've raised all these millions of dollars, so here's a tax credit, and now we don't pay taxes for this year. All of these corporations should be paying their fair share just like all the other actual individual human beings. And that tax law needs to be changed out of their favor, in favor of us. Because it's not that we need to pay more, it's that a lot of people haven't been paying their fair share, and that needs to change. And that should change. And you know, more Kamala's policies go more in that direction than Donald Trump policies, because Donald Trump is only out here to support billionaires and millionaires and to keep them rich. I'm not rich. And it's not even that I want to be rich, it's that I want to be comfortable. I think truly what everyone wants is to be comfortable. And it's hard to be comfortable if your money's being extracted from, you know, the Republican side of things. And it's hard to be comfortable if your country is actively supporting a genocide using your tax dollars, and not supporting a genocide, funding it, like just funding it, making the weapons that get landed on the heads of all these innocent lives. And I think we should want better than that. I am completely frustrated that in the mainstream media, and not just in the mainstream media, you know, when it comes down to your leftist politics circles and whatnot on the internet as well, we do think in terms of bad guy, good guy, left and right, blue and red. And I don't think that's super duper constructive. I think if we want a better world, we have to imagine a better world. And in order to imagine a better world, it can only be based off of our current world to a certain degree. I think if we want a government that is not going to support genocide, we have to be loud about that. And I think a lot of people will blame, oh, it's the Bernie bros, oh, it's those leftist kids on TikTok, and blah, 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 blah. One of the only things you have when you have a political realm that is so one side or the other, one of the biggest weapons you have is threatening to quote unquote throw away your vote. If you threaten, hey, I might not vote for Kamala, we all know that Trump's not good and none of us want that, but to threaten to not vote for Kamala, that says something. That's a rhetorical move to say, hey, I care so much about the things she's failing in that I might withstand, or I might refrain from voting for her as well as the other guy, because neither option is great. I feel like it should be way easier to come to some type of consensus on what's good, on what's right, and to have less caveats. I'm so tired of this idea of compromise from the Democratic Party of, oh, we have to, let me mute my phone here. This idea of compromise where it's like, oh, we got to reach across the aisle. We got to work with Republicans. And it's like, the Republicans want us dead. The Republicans want guns in the hands of everybody. They want complete immunity for all police officers. They want all this other bad shit. Why are we working with them? Now, this isn't to say fuck Republicans and we should lock them up in the brig. That's not at all what I'm implying. I'm saying that Republican politicians and Republican leaders and Republican talking heads, none of them have the best interest of the random Trump voter in whatever Wichita, Kansas. I just made, or no, that's a real place. They don't care about those people truly. They just want their hearts and minds so that they can go vote Republican in the elections. And then once they have all the power, they will protect themselves, not that voter. That is all they care about. That is all your Elon Musk, your Tim Pools, your any conservative drifter out there. They only care about themselves, and Trump is one of the ultimate epitomes of that as well. He only cares about himself. Even people that get out here and act like they're cool, got a different rebrand, grow their hair out a little bit, and now they rocking a cross chain, they look like a surfer. Even all these tech bros that seem pretty cool on the outside, once they get money and once they get power, their only interest is to hold on to it. And so they will vote in their own best interest, which is to protect their billion and $1 million corporations. And it's frustrating to see people put their faith into that and not think critically about, okay, maybe, so why are they saying these things? Why would this be good for me? Why would it be good to, eliminate all these healthcare things when it's been saving family members, it's been saving this, it's been saving that? I think the Obamacare situation is one of the first times where a lot of these very aggressive Trump people, when they saw how good Obamacare was for them, they were like, okay, this is actually helping me. I don't want to lose this. You can call it Obamacare, but then when it starts actually healing you, suddenly it's not that bad. I feel like this whole video is just rambling a lot about politics, but kind of where I'm ultimately at is I am just very frustrated that we have to compromise. I am tired of compromising. Or it's not even that compromise itself is bad. I do think you can't expect everything to happen all at once forever. But I'm frustrated that we are so far back, that we are so backwards in our thinking and in our ideology that our government can support a very obvious genocide. I'm telling you, in a couple years when the history books are written, we're going to be the bad guys here. We're going to be the bad guys. When they look back and they say what happened during this time in history, the United States will be the villains. Again. We are so often the villains, and we use our cachet as like the biggest country in the world or whatever, and that's not even literally true and maybe not even financially true. But we use that kind of cachet as the new hot country on the block to get away with so much bullshit. We are the villains in so many things that happen with like the banana company in Hawaii and so many like CIA things happening like Bay of Pigs. Like, we've done so much shit overseas, either covert or overt. And we are still somehow portrayed as good. We are still some type of ideal that other countries want to look up to, where citizens of other countries are like, oh, they're American, they got money, or whatever the fuck. I don't understand it. We have been the villain so often. Why is there not some type of widespread understanding that this country needs to do better, or some widespread understanding that, hey, that country over there is bad, so maybe they need some international sanctions or something? Or maybe they shouldn't have enough power in the UN to veto any vote against Israel standing trial for their war crimes because we have such a big influential vote. That shouldn't be something that we have to compromise on. I hate that I have to vote in the best interest of all my friends in this country to the exclusion of any other life in the rest of the world. It frustrates me. And all of this is not to say anything about, when it comes to the science of climate change. Climate change is fucking real. We had, 2 or 3 hurricanes within a month hitting the southeast region. I got a lot of family in Florida. Most of my family is in Florida, and a lot of them had to move about the way and evacuate when all those hurricanes were hitting. And in North Carolina, God bless them, they're up in the mountains. No one's prepared for hurricanes in the mountains. It's a disaster over there. And so none of that is being addressed either. All these fucking tech companies are like, oh, AI, we got to use AI. AI is the new craze, blah, 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 blah. No citizen, there's been no consumer uprising saying that AI would make our lives better. AI sounds cool. We need to lean into AI. It is a product it is an answer without a problem. There is no problem in our lives where you're like, AI would make this easier. It is them creating AI and then saying, oh, you know what? We can use it for this. We can use it for this. We can use it for this. And all of the applications suck or just better served by other means. It's awful. And I really do feel like, I've been seeing the news and I see some charts and stuff and whatnot. And once again, I am not the biggest brain on this stuff. I'm an English major, for Christ's sake. But I understand that, speaking of being an English major, a lot of the humanities are kind of going out of style in colleges. It's all about business degrees. It's all about STEM and blah, 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 blah. And most of those are great, business degree, whatever. But, STEM careers are important. But the humanities are called the humanities for a reason, because without them, we don't have much humanity. If we don't connect to the soul, connect to the spirit that is inherent to every human being on this earth, and how can we do anything in the best interest of any other human being except ourselves? Science makes sense. Math makes sense. How do you write a beautiful poem? How do you do anything creative in this world and make it hit? It is not an exact science, but it speaks to who we are as people that we're able to do it anyway. And not everyone can do it, but those things kind of help us relate to each other in a very special way. And I think the lack of care about those creative endeavors is very detrimental. I think a culture has been created in which we don't care about each other, and we don't see each other as fellow humans. We see them as just numbers somewhere. They're distant from us. Social media is kind of added to this, because now that's not a full human being I'm interacting with in the flesh. It's a JPEG on a screen. I think, modern pop culture has contributed to this. We're not, the days of the 70s and 80s where like very deep character dramas were a thing people cared about. Most people don't care about that stuff. Let me just watch the new episode of Criminal Minds or Big Bang Theory. Let me watch the new Marvel movie. I don't have taste. I don't care about like genres and whatnot. I just want to see what the best new thing is and then see if I like it or not. And that's the most you think about it. I think the humanities is a vital part of not just American culture, but human culture. And I think if we had that, maybe there'd be a little bit more care about how the current tide of how things are shifting is affecting humans. And I just don't think it's great. I think it's bad. I think we deserve better than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, I'll be completely honest with. I said Kamala. It's Kamala. God damn it. I have fucked it up. See, my mom has really been getting on to me, because whenever I say her name, half the time I say it wrong, and she'll be very stern, like, say it right. It's Kamala. God damn it. And she's only doing that because I'm sure the CNNs and whatnot have hyped up the fact that Trump says it wrong all the time. And it's like, I'm not trying to say it wrong. I'm not trying to disrespect her. I'm just an idiot. It's frustrating that I think she's a decent person. I think she's probably cool to talk to. I think she's probably cool to hang out with. The whole, when they were doing the whole brat summer, Kamala is brat. I thought that shit was funny. I thought all the memes people were making about her were funny. I thought they were cool. I thought I was caught up in the energy. Shit, before she even ran for president, when she was like VP to Biden when he was running, I was like, hey, they got a baddie in the White House. Look at this. Maybe that's weird to say, but it's what I kind of felt like low key back in that time. And now we're here where the vibes have worn off. Even with Tim Walz, which I was very excited about Tim Walz when he was picked as the VP. I was like, okay, we got a Midwestern dad. We got this cool, chill dude, got a little bit of charisma as well. Just a family man, just a good guy with a good heart who seems to want the best for everybody, for his people and whatnot. Even him, for as excited as I was about him, both him and Kamala have pledged their allegiance to Israel. Like, they have been pretty hard, steadfast about, hey, we are going to defend Israel. We are going to do right by her. And it's like, I understand a lot of this is lip service. I understand, you say whatever you need to say to get into office, but it's disheartening for people like me, for the large demographic of people who are mostly getting their news from non-state approved sources, which is to say Al Jazeera and just non-US sources, non-Western sources specifically. Or I guess, non-Western sources. Because even the BBC and, places over in Europe, their news is saying the same things. Canada, their news is saying the same things. They are treating Israel as if they're little Miss Innocent trying to defend themselves, when in actuality, they are wiping away thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. And there might not be much left by the time the history page turns over and what's really going on is revealed widely and talked about widely. I have problems having faith in her, having faith in that administration that she would put together, that they would do anything to stop that. And honestly, that's kind of the crux of everything for me, because if an issue is so obviously bad, if it is so obviously just overwhelmingly affecting people negatively, if it is so obvious that, hey, the thing you should do as a leader in America, if you get up there and you see this is going on, the obvious thing to do, we're delivering the bombs to them, stop the bombs and let them fend for themselves. Like, still, Israel probably has plenty over there and they probably would still do a lot. But if you just want to remove yourself morally from the situation, withdraw money, withdraw funding, withdraw the weapons, and at least you can claim some type of moral superiority. That's such an obvious move to do as the United States, but it is something we've refused to do forever. I understand Joe Biden has been super pro-Israel's since his political career started, low-key. He's been talking about this shit in like the 90s and the 80s, I believe. But like, why is it that when it's so obvious what the right thing to do is, we sit there boldly faced and say we're not going to do the right thing? If we can't do that when it's obvious, if we as Americans and the leaders of America, if we can't see the obviously wrong thing, say it's wrong, acknowledge it for what it is, and then do the correct thing, then what gives me faith that you're going to stand up in the faces of all these corporations and say, hey, you want to do another merger like Activision and Microsoft just did? No, because that's not going to be good for the consumer ultimately. Oh, you want to instill this other law that's going to fuck over consumers in this way, going to fuck over citizens in this way? No, we're not going to do that. Also, it just seems like if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to stand up for the American people and do what's right, if you're not going to stand up for people in general and do what's right, then why are you vilifying the Republican Party so much when they're on the same page as you when it comes to genocide? They also want to blow up these people. In fact, they'll probably go worse. Instead of them just ignoring what's going on and just passively giving the money away, they'll probably accelerate the situation bold-facedly, wholeheartedly. And then that's going to make it look even worse when you do nothing during your administration. But they want that threat. I feel like Democrats so eagerly want that threat to hang over the balance of everybody else. That's why they didn't codify Roe v. Wade, so that it could always be in threat, always be in peril, just in case we need a motivator for people to come back into the polls. It's so frustrating to see that this is how things go. I just feel like it makes sense to do the right thing, but it's not profitable, I guess. I mean, we do live in a capitalist system, and we are in late stage capitalism. Like, everything's blowing up because all people care about is money, and the climate is going to burn out before any of their money does. But I just don't understand why are you trying to be the moral superior when you're doing all this stuff on your side as the Democratic Party? And, you know, I look at Trump himself. He's running again. All the laws he's broken, all the things he's done, all the unprecedented uses of power that he's had during his administration, and he's not only walking free, but he's not been arrested. I know he's been indicted. I know so many things have happened. He's been in courtrooms in and out for quite a while now. But 4 years of his administration, 4 years of the Biden administration, and he's back on the ticket. Why? I feel like if you were any type of president worth a damn, you would ensure that wouldn't happen. And I think there's this idea of, we don't want to seem partisan. We want to be fair. Let's let him run. He's disqualified himself time after time again. How are we getting to this point? How are we, the American citizens, we vote our representatives in there to represent us, and then when it comes back, it's on us again to make sure the disaster doesn't happen. We've already primed half of this country. Hey, Twitter is giving you so much disinformation. It's just funneling you down an alt-right pipeline. It's just giving you all these conservative views. Same thing for Facebook. They're not so heavy on the conservative views, but their algorithm is tuned to the point where if you're already inclined to that, it's just going to get deeper and darker and worse. So many people are radicalized to where they don't perceive reality as reality. Well, they perceive it as reality, but their reality is warped, but they don't see how things actually are. And when it comes to this election, it just frustrates me that we get to this point. Like, why is Donald Trump here? We could have been running against any other plain Republican, boring, blah, 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 blah. But I think the Democratic Party understands that if we have a normal Republican, a normal conservative running, and we've ran on, look how crazy the Republicans are, look how reasonable and normal we are while we reach across the aisle, we're the better ones. If you have a normal person that isn't bloodthirsty, unhinged, and just senile at this point, you can't make that comparison as easily. I really do feel like the Democratic Party likes to keep Trump around because they feel like he's an easy villain. It is an easy, marketable villain. But what I think history is going to kind of show and kind of prove is that Donald Trump isn't the only villain. And I won't even say Kamala or Biden or any specific person in the Democratic Party is a villain. It is the force that runs America that is the source of its own villainy. It is capitalism. It is the idea that everything needs to serve the purpose of earning money and earning capital. And that's been the case for all these corporations. It is the reason why they are polluting the earth so aggressively. You know, I talk about AI. It is a direct link between, we're Google and we just missed all of our humanitarian benchmarks. All of our, we're saving this much in energy efficiency. Failed all of that because we just got this new AI initiative and we need to ramp it up because everything's AI now. Same thing with Samsung. Same thing with Apple. Same thing with a lot of these companies. They don't care about any of their humanitarian efforts as long as they can get you to buy a product. And so it's hard to say where it lies. If in my heart, I feel like it should lie with, hey, we elect you on our behalf to do right by us. Do right by us. I don't feel like the Democratic Party has really been doing right by us all that well, at least not as well as I feel like we should all be asking for. So I guess what the call to action, quote unquote, is here. Let's not stop. If Kamala Harris, if she wins the election, which would be really cool. It'd be really cool to have the first black woman president. First woman president at all. That would be awesome. But if she wins, let's not do what we did with Barack Obama. And look, I was right there when Barack Obama won. I was hype as well. You know, Barack Obama was the last election. His second win was the last election that I had before I could vote. I couldn't vote for Obama, but I voted for Biden, I voted for Hillary, and that was the first one. But let's not do what we did with Barack Obama. When Barack Obama got up there, and we were so happy to see representation, but it doesn't stop at representation. They got to do right by us. Barack Obama is a great orator, and he's probably very charismatic. He seems like a really chill dude that I'd love to shake his hand and have a beer with. But all those drone strikes, all those bailouts for Wall Street companies and corporations, that wasn't in our best interest. And I could say I love Obama to death, but he wasn't doing right by us. Not in all the major ways that matter. He did Obamacare. That gave us the bone. But we had to compromise on so much when it came to the Wall Street bailouts, when it came to the car company bailouts, when it came to more bodies dropping overseas due to all the drone strikes he put out. it's a compromise we don't need to make. And I want us as citizens, us as politically engaged people, someone who cares enough to click a video with a political title, even though it is Astrobot gameplay, I want us to just want more. Question why we have to deal with things the way they are. And I think the more of us question it, the more of us will start from a standpoint of this is not normal. Supporting a state that is executing a genocide is not normal. And if we can start with that as being our shared reality, then I think we can change it. How do we change it? That's way beyond my pay grade. It's way beyond my pay grade. But I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's important to talk about. Like I said, I've already, don't say shit to me. But that's the whole thing caboodle. Okay, yeah, this video was longer than I thought. I thought it was gonna be slightly shorter, and then I kept talking. Thank y'all for watching. I guess I'll tell you about some other stuff going on around the internet that I'm doing. You want more videos from me, of course, hit subscribe here, EJ161 on the YouTube platform. If you want to just see social media stuff from me, hit me up on Instagram. I finally got back. So speaking of all these corporations, Meta, the company that owns Facebook, did me real dirty a long time ago. And by a long time ago, I mean like 2 years ago at this point. They deleted my Facebook account that I've had since I was 14. And I turned 30 in a couple weeks. So they just deleted it. They saw some old post from like a decade ago and was like, oh, this post breaks community guidelines that we just enacted right now. So your account's under review. And then after the review, it was like, yeah, your appeal, we're not going to appeal it. It's just done. And that's it. And they just wiped my whole account away. So all my memories, all that stuff gone. So I recently made a new Instagram account. I've been posting under there. It is the same name, which I couldn't use originally because that same name was taken by the old account in the back end somewhere. But now they fully wiped everything. So now I'm back on EJ161 as my Instagram handle. So you can follow me there. Bluesky's popping off. We talked about how Twitter is a cesspool because of Elon Musk and his fuckassery. Bluesky is the new Twitter. Everyone go to Bluesky. EJ161.bsky.social, I believe is the thing. Just EJ161 and I'll pop up on there. I've really been digging Bluesky. I really like it a lot. So check it out there and get in there. It's really good energy on there. Other stuff from me, welcome to the thing. You can see that. I'll be talking about that. Look, just go to emmettw.me. That's the website I made not too long ago. You'll see all the stuff I'm doing. Welcome to the thing, Players Club podcast if you want video game stuff. VGU.tv, articles and whatnot, everything. So go check that out. But that's it for me. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for supporting. Don't tell me who you voted for, but I don't know. If you're feeling how I'm feeling, say something in chat, say something in the comments. I don't know. Just it is what it is. I feel weird because I feel like I got to talk more because I'm on camera, but there's no real reason for me to do that. So I'm gonna just wrap it up. Also, I got like 5 hours of Astrobot footage. So I could keep talking for a long time and not run out of gameplay. But it's fine. I like Astrobot a lot. It's one of the games of the year for me. But that's it for me once again. I am Emmett Watkins Jr., also known as EJ161 on all places on the internet. And I will see y'all later. But as I always say, keep it real, keep it trill, and play on play. Peace out, y'all. And want better from your country.
Ha ha ha!